In this lesson, we're going to multiply and divide radical expressions. I'm going to break this up into two videos because this is a bit of a long lesson. So I'm going to work with multiplying, then I'll come back with a second video about dividing. So what we want to be able to do is simplify expressions involving multiplication and division of radicals. So we're multiplying radical expressions. We can use that product rule that the square root of a times the square root of b equals the square root of a times b, or vice versa, depending on the problem we're working on. So here in this example, if I'm taking negative 4 root 2 times minus 3 root 13x, we can multiply the coefficients of these radicals, and then we can use the product rule to say the square root of 2 times the square root of 13x is the square root of 2 times 13x. So we'll have positive 8 times the square root of 26x. So try this problem and come back and check your work. Pause the video, multiply these out, and then check your work with my work. So here we're multiplying 3 root 2 times 5 root 11x. So we can multiply the coefficients, 3 times 5, and then we can use the product rule to write square root of 2 times square root of 11x is square root of 2 times 11x. And we'll have 15 times the square root of 22x. In the second example, we can use the distributive property. So the square root of 2x times root 5 plus 2 root 3x plus root 8, we want to multiply by every term inside the parentheses by root 2x. So we'll have root 2x times root 5 plus root 2x times 2 square roots of 3x plus root 2x times, there should be square root of 8 here, and I've missed that. Okay, so we would have square root of 10x plus 2 times square root of 6x squared plus, then we'd have 16x here. Okay, so we would have root 10x plus 2x root 6, and then we would have 4 root x. Okay, so I've made a mistake here, but if you go on your learning guide and multiply by root 8 here, we would get 4 root x as our answer. Okay? So here we want to try this exercise, pause the video, and then come back and check your work. So here we want to take root 6x times root 3 plus root 6x times root 2x plus root 6x times root 5. So using the product rule, we'll have the square root of 18x plus the square root of 12x squared plus the square root of 30x. 18 we can think of as 9 times 2. 12x squared we can think of as 4x squared times 3. And then we have 30x under the last radical. There's no perfect square factor of 30. So the first radical here simplifies to 3 root 2x plus 2x root 3 plus root 30x. And there are no other perfect square factors underneath these radicals, so that's a simplified answer. We can use the FOIL method if we're multiplying binomials that contain radical expressions. Or distributive. So here if I have root 7 plus 4 root 2 times 2 root 7 minus 3 root 2, the root 7 will be multiplied by 2 root 7 minus 3 root 2, and the 4 root 2 will be multiplied by 2 root 7 minus 3 root 2. And when we distribute the root 7, we'll have 2 root 49 minus 3 root 14 plus 8 root 14 minus 12 times the square root of 4. So we'll have 2 times 7 plus 8 minus 3 is 5 root 14 minus 12 times 2. So we'll have 14 minus 24 plus 5 root 14, which is negative 10 plus 5 root 14. So try this problem, pause the video, try that out, and then come back and check your work. So here we have root 2 times 2 root 2 for the firsts. I did this by the FOIL method. The outers is root 2 times minus root 5. The inners is 3 root 5 times 2 root 2. And the lasts we have 3 root 5 times negative root 5. So root 2 times root 2 is root 2 squared, so that's 2. So we have 2 times 2 here, minus root 10. And I'm making mistakes here, but this should be 3 times 2 is 6, so we should have 6 root 10 here. Root 5 times root 5 is 5. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. So here we should have 5 root 10 instead. So 4 plus negative 15 is negative 11 plus 5 root 10. So if you have negative 11 plus 5 root 10 as your answer, that's the correct answer, and I apologize for making mistakes there. We can also square, and the squaring formula, if I have a binomial squared, remember it's a squared plus 2 times ab plus b squared. So if I have 2a minus root 5 squared, I can let capital A be 2 root a and capital B be root 5. So if I square a, that would be 2 root a squared plus 2 times a times b. Since I have a minus here, it's going to be minus 2 times 2 root a times root 5 plus root 5 squared. So 2 root a squared will be 4a, and then we'll have negative 4 times root 5a. So that should be a negative 4 instead. Sorry, everybody. Plus 5. So this should be 4a minus 4 root 5a plus 5. So try multiplying root 7 plus root 3x squared and either FOIL it out or use the binomial formula, either square of a binomial. Either way, we should get the same results. So pause the video, try this problem out. Let's see if I can get it right this time. So here I used that binomial square formula. So I squared root 7 plus 2 times root 7 times root 3x plus root 3x squared. And I have 7 plus 2 times root 21x plus 3x. And that is correct. So here we can also use the FOIL method for higher roots. So here I'm FOILing out cube root of 3m plus cube root of 5 times cube root of 9m squared minus 2 times the cube root of 25. So with the firsts, I have the cube root of 27m cubed. The outers, I'm going to have minus 2 times the cube root of 75m. The inners, I'm going to have the cube root of 45m squared. And the lasts, I'm going to have minus 2 times 125, the cube root of 125. So the cube root of 27m cubed is 3m, minus 2 cube root of 75m, plus the cube root of 45m squared, minus 10 will be the simplified answer. 75 does not have a cube, is not a perfect cube, or does not have a perfect cube as a factor. So this is simplified. So now try this one, pause the video, try it out, and come back and check your answer with my answer. So here I have 2 times the cube root of 2y times 4y squared, and the outers I have minus 3 times the cube root of 2y times the cube root of 2. The inners I have 2 times the cube root of 4 times the cube root of 4y squared minus 3 times the cube root of 4 times the cube root of 2. So here, underneath the cube root, I have 2y times 4y squared. That's 8y cubed. And the cube root of 8y cubed is 2y. So I have 2 times 2y. And I'll have minus 3 times the cube root of 4y. And then I'll have 16y squared underneath the radical. And that's like, 16 is like 8 times 2. So I'll have 2 times 2 times 2y squared underneath the cube root. And here the cube root of 8 is 2. So I'll have negative 3 times 2, which is negative 6. So I'll have 4y minus 3 times the cube root of 4y plus 4 times the cube root of 2y squared minus 6. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video here, and I'll come back with a video for the second part of this lesson, which is dividing rational expressions.